All right, welcome back. It is 10 o'clock on the button. Look at the temperatures outside right now. That'll let you know what's happening. Yeah, as we're looking at some pretty heavy rain still falling in some spots, but starting to see a little bit of improvement. We expect to see that over the next couple of hours. Do have new aerial flood advisories that just popped up. Actually, Carolyn, you get a sec? Check that one down there in near Friendswood, if you don't mind. Let me see. When is that till?
It's until 1 p.m.
1 o'clock. Thank you. Yeah, that just literally just popped up here right as we went back on the air. Okay, let's get you out the door here and let's show you what's happening. So a couple of trouble spots now on the north side. We're starting to see some. This is anywhere from right outside of, Conroe as you get towards Hempstead. This whole cluster right here actually just did a quick push for some of our KPRC2 weather team users. So from Willis to Panorama Village, you can see some of the lightning here that continues to really see some pretty heavy showers and thunderstorms. In fact, looking at that on that north side, as I mentioned, anywhere from right outside of, the Woodlands as you get across parts of Willis. There's Montgomery sliding southward down towards the Tomball Parkway, Magnolia to Stagecoach over to Tomball. Not only that, but looking at some pretty heavy rain here. Same thing from Prairie View right across that cluster between Highway 6 and 290. So that whole area, some of the ranchers and folks that are out that way, getting pounded pretty good right now. Finally getting a bit of a break, though, as we go back off to the west. That's nice news. Few little spot showers starting to pop up from around Bastrop and Giddings that had nearly, I want to say, golf ball size hail this morning about 7 a.m. with some of the stronger storms we were seeing. Meanwhile, to the south, this is where things are getting real messy. This new aerial flood advisory, as Caroline mentioned, that goes until 1:30 this afternoon. So not only that, but it's got a special weather statement on that. And it basically just means we could be looking at some wind gusts in excess of probably 40 miles an hour, maybe even a little bit of pea-sized hail trying to make it to the ground. It looks like we do have a couple of markers here just south of Manville. We'll keep a watch on that. Yep, that's right. About half an inch. So, skittle size, if anything does make it to the ground. Other than that, we've got still the aerial flood advisory sitting across the area from right here in through much of the metro, right? So that's anywhere from right outside of downtown as you get down to Bel Air, moving down into Sharpstown right near the KPRC2 studios, and then over across parts of the South Beltway, South Loop, and then working its way down around 45. Now, the reason why this is here is because of some of the heavy rain that we saw about an hour ago. It was anywhere from about an inch to an inch and a half, and that aerial flood advisory goes until 11:45. So a couple of trouble spots that we're going to keep a watch on. And even as you get out to the east side here, from Baytown over to LaPorte, notice that we've got some pretty heavy rain as well, anywhere from LaPorte down to Seabrook over to Clear Lake, and then down towards parts of, Dickinson, Lamarck. You get the idea, over to Santa Fe, over towards Annville and Liverpool. And then most of what we have on the south side here is going to continue. Let's see how much lightning is what this is, to be honest with you. This is real curious to see. So we have about 157 strikes. Interesting, this morning down around Matagorda, when we were looking at things, it had anywhere from around 1,000 to 2,000 lightning strikes, all within a very short period of spots, from about Port O'Connor to Port Lavaca, down towards Rockport, right? So that's what we were seeing this morning. And as we get in towards this afternoon, I expect most of this to be winding down. Speaking of the coast, let's head on down there from, Oyster Creek over to Surfside Beach to Freeport. And we talked about this within the last hour. I said, hey, heads up if you're in those areas. Probably going to see some pretty hefty downpours here in the next, 30 minutes or so. And that's been the case. And I expect to see these as we go in and across the area from about the next, let's say, 20 to 30 minutes. And then same thing as you get up towards Galveston here, over across parts of Chambers County. We're also looking at some pretty hefty rain from, right outside of Anahuac as you get from Texas City. There's Port Bolivar, and then over onto the east side. So let's talk about how much rain we've seen with some of these locations over the last hour. Some of these totals are pretty impressive. Down around the last hour, they've actually not only seen about a quarter to a half an inch down towards League City and Friendswood. That's the good news. But some of the other areas that have picked up a lot more rain have been over across around Meadows Place, over to Sugar Land, where it was anywhere from about half an inch to 3/4 of an inch. And then as you slide northward, you see where a lot of that heavy rain is still falling down. Some of these spots are starting to pick up some real heavy downpours within the last hour. So anywhere from, Cypress down to Jersey Village, picking up anywhere from about an inch to an inch and just under an inch and a half. Charterwood, right about an inch of rain. And then look at some of these heftier totals here where we may be looking. Now, thankfully, out across the river here, out to the Brazos, we don't have a whole lot of like main streets, which is good. But the county roads could be in some trouble where we picked up 2.5 inches just within the last hour. So if you look at that from our friends over at the Harris County Flood Control District, that's a moderate threat for street flooding. Thankfully, not a whole lot of streets out there, but certainly we want to make sure that anybody that is out there is staying safe. And then same story as we get it across parts of 290 as you get near Pine Island. We're looking anywhere from about an inch to 2 inches, and then anywhere from about 1.25 inches to just about an inch in some spots here as well. So what we're going to be looking at is anywhere from Magnolia to Stagecoach, still looking at some pretty heavy rain, so we'll keep a watch on that. All right, let's take a live look from right here at the Arc Generators camera. Real sloppy. This is from our tower cam, and you see what I see. Southwest Freeway looks pretty wet and gross out there. Brittany Begley was talking about it just a little bit ago. All right, let's show you the updated future track. This is the latest model, updates every hour and just continually brings in new data. So it's been catching up to what has actually been happening out there over the last hour or so. So for the most part, we should be done by about, let's say, 1 o'clock. We may get a few spit showers out towards the Brazos, but it does look like by 2, 3 o'clock, everything's starting to wrap up. And I think most of our afternoon is going to look pretty good. Cloudy, yes, so we probably will keep the temperatures in the 80s today, so at least that'll be good. A little rain-cooled air as we head towards this afternoon and this evening. And then we'll see if we can pick out a few more storms late night tonight. Most of that line over the last 4 or 5 hours with these new models has been falling apart. So if that's the case, then that's certainly good news for us. Now, the problem with that is that as long as this boundary is in play, and it is sitting right across the area, this is going to continue to produce more heavy rain for us, at least through the day today. We'll start to see things wrap up over the next couple of days. By Thursday and Friday, we're going to take the rain chances down to about 30 to 40%. Notice more typical forecast as we get in towards the weekend. And then next week, kicking off June the right way, 90, 92. Feels like numbers will be in the upper 90s, and your daily 20% chance of a shower or downpour each and every afternoon. All right, that's an update on your forecasts. We'll be back at 10:30. We're going to do some extended coverage with myself and, of course, meteorologist Brittany Begley and the rest of the crew out there to get you through this sloppy rest of our morning. Stay safe out on the roads, and we'll have everything wrapped up here in just a few hours.